So over here we have the tokenomics, and we are going to see in depth of how SYL tokenomics functions. So this is the model design of SYL, which is Satoshi, their native asset. Okay, fundamental value, SYL ecosystem. Data goes from here to the dApp, the users use it and then they exchange it. There are tokens in between, which is SYL. So if you take some information or something and then you do it by spending token money, and then the information on the data goes to developers. The developers then use it via dApp and then send it back to the SYL ecosystem. So this is the cycle of how the whole thing operates. And the reason SYL was conceived was for it to allow value transfer, purchase of services on SYL Library, SDI creation, payment of verifiable credential users, the execution of smart contracts. So without SYL, which is the token, these things won't be possible. And the SYL is made for these functions to be operable using obviously cryptocurrency, which is SYL in this case. And also we have here simultaneous games. So the ecosystem will be sustainable thanks to the services deployed on the network, which will reward developers for purchase of their app. So what basically they are saying is that each person will get rewarded for doing certain acts, which will further expand XSL Labs. So you'll be rewarded for each action that you take. Users for sharing chosen identity information via Cortex. Okay, locking. These many SYL will be locked and they'll be slowly supplied to the various services in the ecosystem. That's a huge number of SYL right here. And finally, the ecosystem. The ecosystem will consist of different players, which are the users of different services, the developers, the engineers who will update, third parties wishing to use SDI in their apps. For example, maybe WhatsApp can use SDI, you never know that. Big money right there. And then obviously verifiable credential issuers. Okay, so let's go down. Then we have the parity, which means equality. So they plan to have a fixed parity within the ecosystem, which is a good thing. And the goal is gradually get the user to accumulate on his wallet or increase the liquidity of the asset. So okay, below over here we have the market value. So even XSL Labs is not sure what to answer. Like they have written at this time, we can answer this question. So the market value will depend on the listing of the digital asset on the exchange platforms. So we have to wait for it. And then there's the fundamental value. So obviously SYL's money supply will depend on the number of services and number of users within the ecosystem. So the more diverse and varied users of ecosystem there are, the more value the asset will have. So different people, different country might use this, which will lead to higher value of SYL, which is Satoshi, which is the native asset of XSL Labs. Okay, so this is the place where we come to know that why XSL Labs is with cryptocurrency blockchain technology, because the underlying technology is a blockchain will be used as the foundation of the ecosystem for the dApp's extension. So they are using blockchain technology which we know is the main source of cryptocurrency. So XSL Labs is going to use data and blockchain technology in a new method. Okay, let's go more down, and over here we have the data market size. There's a brief explanation of the global big data that they plan, and the markets divided into 5 areas: diffusion, targeting, gathering of data, online advertising. Like, you can read the details, it's not that much of a big detail. And then the number of users: Europe has 741.4 million inhabitants. On the average, 93% use internet and smartphones. So they are targeting on the potential users of XSL Labs, these many million for the Eurozone itself. Oh, that's a huge target, right? So then over here we have token velocity, which we will see below. This will be defined as the theory of quantitative currency. This one over here will come here at a moment. Let's see the value creation part. So the fundamental value of SYL will depend on its use within the ecosystem and held by its fixed parity. So here is a brief of the application of theory of quantitative currency to SYL. They are explaining you how this application and this theory works. So if you're very nerd and geeky and you would want to go in that depth to understand, you can read it over here. Over here they have the calculation, a lot of formulas we can see. Then there are examples, obviously taking the formulas. And finally they have a conclusion, which says the value of the asset will therefore depend on the number of services and their cost. So eventually they mean the ecosystem will have an impact on the asset's price through their various services. So that's a big way of XSL Labs methodology, and hope they succeed. So with this we also conclude our final and third tour of the XSL Labs. So until next time guys, take care and bye bye.